What they're claiming is that they went 1,000 times farther than they can send astronauts today, 50 years ago, on the first attempt with 1 millionth the computing power of a cell phone. And there's never been a technological achievement that no one could repeat 50 years later. It's like me telling you 50 years ago, Toyota made a car that could go 50,000 miles on a gallon of gasoline. And yet today, 5 decades later, their best car can only go 50 miles per gallon, or 1,000th the distance. You would laugh and say the original claim is preposterous. Or 50 years later, and now the farthest they can send an astronaut to the moon is 1,000th the distance that they claimed to have done on the first attempt 50 years ago with less computing power than a cell phone, 1 millionth of the computing power. It just doesn't add up. It's never happened. It's also the only time that they deliberately destroyed a technology. I mean, the B-52 is 70 years old, and there's still 200 of them in service. And yet they admit they destroyed all the Apollo equipment, and they're claiming they have to go back to the moon and recreate it from scratch. They destroyed all the original videotapes, all the original blueprints. You would never do that if you really went. You would only do that if there was a fraud and you were trying to cover your tracks.